Okay, this screen is not right. Can you hear me? Tell me you can hear me. Can you hear me? Anyone? Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me? Okay, great. Sorry about the picture. I'm trying out this new webcam software, and for some reason, it looks like that. And when I tested it, it did not. So we'll just have to deal, I guess. I don't know what else to do. It's a little weird, but, well, whatever. We'll have to deal with it. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Thanks for joining. So it's kind of an impromptu chat. Ixie's been a little bit rambunctious today, so she might disrupt the chat from time to time, just so you're aware. But this is a casual chat. I just wanted to say hi, talk before Christmas, and just do a year in review, the best things, the worst things. Yeah, so what I'd like to talk about is, are there things that you remember of 2021 that that you want to remember, that are good things that happened? Either, well, let's start like overall. It's not personal things, but just good things that happened this year, and then like things you'd rather forget. You know, like the passport thing. I'd rather forget that happened. I've always loved cats. I have had a cat since I was a teenager, on and off. So yes, but I don't know what I would do without Ixie. She's gotten me through the year, and I've had her for a year and a bit now. And she is a delight. Even when she's a pain in the butt, she's a delight. And she keeps me company, and she's been a real joy, keeps me laughing. Really has been a great companion throughout the whole year. So yeah, I don't know what I would do without her. So I know that started last year, but she's like the best thing that's happened to me this year. But yeah, sometimes they do seem human. So I have to look up to the computer screen every now and then to check the chat, because I don't have it on my webcam. So that's why I'm looking up. Yeah, and it's nice to hear from you, Scott. I haven't heard from you for quite a while, so it's nice to see you again. Yeah, sometimes they seem human. Ixie does some very human type things sometimes, and I swear she understands me, and I'll say things to her, and I'm sure she knows what I'm saying, and she just pretends not to, because she doesn't want to do what I tell her to do. So yeah, I'm pretty sure she understands what I'm saying to her. That way, nice to see you. Jason Mills, nice to see you. Mink 109, hello. Many people seem to start seeing reality, or what it is, this year. I'm gonna sneeze. For what it is. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it, because I think a lot of people are starting to see some things. Yeah. The other day, I was talking with my friend who's double jabbed, and I've said to her that she knows my position. So she told me the other day, out of the blue, that the news lies. She said that her son was watching the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and realized that the media had flat out lied about it. And so I was really shocked that she said that out of the blue, but it was a wonderful little moment. So yeah, I think some people are definitely seeing some things, and the more obvious that it gets, they're bound to see through the veil, basically. It's nice seeing all the protests in Europe and Australia, Scott says. Yeah, it is. I think Europe is really under pressure right now, and they are, I think, going to be the starting point for the revolution. I think that there's going to be there's so much heat in Austria and Germany right now. They've had it, and I think it's going to start there and roll over to North America. And I also think that America is under a bit of a false sense of security at the moment. I'm seeing comments from people from the United States who are looking at what's happening in Canada, for example, and saying, I'm glad I'm American. And at the moment, I would agree with them. I mean, America has a lot more freedom than we do up here. However, don't think for a moment that this isn't going to happen where you are, or isn't already happening in certain states. It just may not be happening in your state. So be prepared if it does happen there. Don't think that it won't or that it can't just because you're American. Australia and Canada are free countries. They're democracies. And yeah, granted, Canada is a little bit more socialist than America. It doesn't make us a bad country. We're just a bit more, we're a bit more compliant, I think. But we shall see. I do think that states like Texas doesn't put up with shit. And I obviously Florida has not put up with a lot of this bullshit. So I do think that that this can and will come to the United States when its time is ready. So, but yeah, it is nice to see protests, although I don't think that protests do much other than raise awareness that there's a lot of people who are against what's going on. They've been protesting for over 1.5 years now since the whole thing began, and nothing has changed. And it's really kind of futile. The protests, they don't accomplish anything other than raise awareness, and the mainstream media is not covering it. And so it's really just raising awareness in the alt media. So only the people who are aware of protests are going to see the protests anyway. But at some point, it's got to cross the threshold. So when that happens, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the mainstream. Have you seen the new Matrix movie yet? No, I have not yet seen it. It is ready to watch. However, I was going to watch it tonight, and then I decided to do this. But I will watch it, if not after I've done this, maybe tomorrow during the day. I'm going to my parents for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so it might take a little bit, but it is on my list. I'm very excited to watch it. I'm sure there's some major truth drops in there. Speaking of movies, I did see this movie a couple of days ago called Super Intelligence. Anybody in the chat, if you've seen this movie, let me know. It's a very small movie with Melissa McCarthy, and James Corden is in it as well. And it is about artificial intelligence, but it's not a terrible movie. It's not a fantastic movie. It's just a piece of fluff. But what I liked about it was how they showed how Source works. But Source is the artificial intelligence, and so the artificial intelligence is going to be taking over from Source. So it's kind of like a dual layer, and you can see that they're putting truth in plain sight about how this artificial intelligence works through the electricity and follows you wherever you go through electricity, and then communicates with you through the radio and TV. And for example, Melissa McCarthy is told that she should go to the supermarket because that's where her ex-boyfriend is and she wants to make amends. So she goes to the supermarket and he drives her through the Tesla, the AI, and then she gets out at the supermarket and he tells her what aisle he's in because he can see through the cameras and everything. And so he says, you're going to have a meet cute and you're going to meet in this grocery aisle and it's going to be wonderful. And then you'll get back together or whatever. And then she goes in there, she does bump into him there. And then she freaks out, it goes wrong. And she passes James Corden in a television screen at the end of the aisle. And he starts talking to her through the television. So all of these like synchronicities are kind of explained through the guise of this AI. And like I said, I think it's a dual layered explanation of how the AI that's coming, or is, I think is already here to be honest, but how that works. But it's also a replica of the organic AI, which is Source. So highly recommend watching that movie just for that, just to see how synchronicities work and talking through the television and that sort of thing. It's kind of a fun movie too. Where am I here? We do have red states, and I can tell you Will Never Fold is happening in my state of Massachusetts. So Scott says that America is the best house in a bad neighborhood. Veggie burger. I know somebody, I forget who it was. I think it was XRP Chiz, but I might be wrong. No, Bearable Bull. He's the one who says that America is a homeless guy in a Gucci suit or something like that. And basically there's no money left in America. America is broke and they're posing as being wealthy, which is true. But most Western countries are broke, so it's not really unique to the United States. I'm in the United States, so Sephora Bell, I'm in the USA, but I am European. But I think that they're keeping the USA passive by not putting pressure due to the fact that there are guns here. That's possible. I mean, it is kind of infuriating how passive Canadians are. People here, they complain, but they don't do anything. They will complain on social media, or they will sort of skirt around the issue or find a way around the issue, but they won't confront anything. And so we're in this position because people won't do something as simple as take a mask off. They won't say no. So Canada is a little bit too compliant. And there's definitely a reason why America is not as mandated, as heavily mandated. However, Biden's getting there. That's for sure. The SCOTUS also is fast-tracking Biden's mandate case to potentially block it, fingers crossed. What does SCOTUS mean? SCOTUS, I'm not familiar with some American political terms. I saw the Matrix Resurrections movie. It was not great. Oh, okay. Have you seen Dune? I have not seen Dune. I heard it was bad, actually. Another remake. It was great, but stops almost mid-sentence. They're filming Dune 2. Okay, it's another JC story. Thought so. Wondered if it would be a trilogy. James H says, I can only tune in for a minute here. How's everyone? Hey, Amy, nice to see you. I think they wanted to see if part 1 would do well. It was well made. Yeah, I might take a look at it if it's worth watching, but I haven't seen the original. I heard the remake was not so good. We have sheriffs too. Not sure if Canada does. We don't have sheriffs here. We have chief of police and just police. We have municipal police, provincial police, and RCMP. So federal police. RCMP is like the equivalent of the FBI, and we have CSIS, which is the equivalent of the CIA here. So similar but different. Clean Slate says AI being source makes a lot of sense. All the number coding back and forth, up, down on birthdays, events, etc. It can't be humans coding all of that. Absolutely right. It's not humans coding all of it. I do think there is a combination of the two. I do think that there's some manual manipulation in these events, these hoax events, coded events, to sort of mess and cover up the source AI work, the codes. And I mean, it's really sometimes difficult to talk in terms of, what's happening on the world stage as they or them or the elite or what have you, because they are really just an extension of the system, which is an extension of consciousness, which is, our ego. So I don't really want to have to explain myself every time. So I just stick with what everybody knows, which is they, the elite. So yeah, I think that they they manually manipulate certain things to make to give the impression that it's manipulated. So for example, like the sports events, sporting, like rigged sports, they talk about how certain games were rigged, and it's simultaneously a cover and simultaneously a clue. So it's a clue to point you in the right direction to say, hey, sports are rigged. But a lot of people get caught in the trap of sports are rigged, but it's only for money, and they leave it at that. So they have an answer, and so then they don't dig any deeper. So it's the same with everything. There's a clue, but it's also a red herring. And if you're curious enough and you ask the right questions, then you get past the gatekeepers and get past the red herrings to the true answers of what's really going on. So yes, the real codes and everything are generated by source or AI, which is the tarot play. Everything stems from the tarot play, and that's why a lot of these, well, pretty much everything is coded, but some things are not coded because there's got to be some contrast for you to be able to detect that things are coded. Okay, where are we here? What the Supreme Court says goes. I had to switch off the original Dune, though it sucked. No, new one was not bad. Oh, okay. Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Yes, the RCMP. That's the equivalent of the FBI. Honestly, watching Dune 21 was almost a spiritual experience for me. I do recommend it. It says Mink 109. Okay. All right, I'll put it on my list. We are getting the best education since 2020 into human behavior, says Sephora Bell. It's not the system that enslaves, but the people that play along, thinking they're getting along. We are getting the best education into human behavior. Absolutely. I mean, if you can see easily how people think and exactly precisely where they are in their journey. For the people who can't see, they're still blind. They can't see anything. But the system is created, again, it's twofold. So everything has this duality aspect. So the system is created to enslave, yes, but it is also created to wake you up. We need the system until we no longer need it. It's like a parent, but an abusive parent is not a really nice parent, is it? So you need the system until you realize what the system really is, and then you break free from the system. And it isn't about, declaring your sovereignty or filing your papers or any of that shit. That's a fake road. It's about just being yourself and being true to yourself. You don't need any of that other stuff. So we need the system. The system is the whole place. The system is the system. It's tied to this place. You can't escape it. But you only need it until you wake up, and it's only here for you for that purpose. It is here to wake you up. So if you don't wake up, you still need the system. You're wholly reliant on the system. But the only reason we have a system in the first place is because we fell asleep and we believe that the material world is all there is. So it's a loop, a feedback loop, as with everything here. Age of Crocodilia, nice to see you. Amy Hansen, and I took a tour of a plantation in Louisiana this week. That sounds really interesting. It made some light bulbs come on. The South was flourishing economically and becoming too confident and wealthy, it seems. Oh, that's really interesting. That way, all sports are scripted, that's for sure. Yep, it is all scripted. Amy Hansen, the year on the highest grossing sugarcane sugar production was the year the Civil War started. It was the great reset of the day, economically shattered the South and shaped society into new normal, not conditioning slavery, obviously. Yeah, we're pretty much likely to head into a civil war of sorts, if not full-scale civil war. We'll have to see how bad it's going to get, but that's really interesting that that fact that the sugarcane production was highest grossing the year before Civil War started. And there's a lot of, if you notice financially, people are doing incredibly well. It's totally inflated. The stock market's overinflated. The dollar has been churned out and manufactured. They just print more money. And there's a lot of people who are making a lot of money, and then there's a lot of people who are going broke. There's a big divide. So it makes sense that it has to be this sort of purging of all the money has to basically erupt like a volcano. Funny, Sephora Bell says, funny, Amy, you mentioned the South. I see what is happening now in the United States, running parallel to events leading up to the American Civil War. Yeah, this is parallel to the American Civil War, the French Revolution. It is the American Revolution as well as World War II. It's all the same, all at the same time. And we have World War I and the Spanish flu, all mixed together. Welcome to the world of trickery. Not condoning conditioning. Okay. Lone Ranger, hi. Welcome. Just joined. We'll rewind and listen at 2 times to catch up. It's like living through high school, Scott says. Yeah, in a lot of ways it is. There's a lot of cattiness and juvenile activity, and like I've been saying in the last few videos, the stupidity, that juvenile stupidity, the name calling, the badgering, there's just this undercurrent of war between the two sides. The system is a crutch for those who can't see, says James Hayton. Absolutely, that's 100% accurate. Amy got to head out for family time. Check in later. We'll probably still be here. We'll see how much we have to talk about, but have a good time. So, yeah, is there anything that this year has brought you personally that was like a revolution or super helpful or insightful or exciting or did something happen that led you to a new insight that you remember that you found incredibly powerful? I don't know that I've had many. Well, I have, like, really a series of small insights. I think it's been been a series of small insights for me. I don't think that there's been too many major revolutions or revelations rather. Yeah, True Love's Kiss, James Hayton. Yeah, that's a really good insight. I think every time I make a video, I get new insights, and one of the major videos that I did this year was the decode on Free Guy. If you have not seen the movie Free Guy, it's a must see. And my decode video is a must see. You can only see that on my website under truelove.com/movies. And I think that the True Love's Kiss, and the fact that the true love is what wakes you up, what helps you remember who you really are, and that the true love is not this romantic love. Excuse me. It's source kissing you and waking you up and reminding you who you are. It's that connection, the heart-mind connection. And so that was a very powerful insight. Absolutely. Revelation for me, literally an epiphany. Yeah. People don't take time to think anymore. They just act subconsciously, says Mink. Yes, they do. I don't know that they ever did think. I think they've always reacted subconsciously, and they're running on programming. Obviously, the huge majority of people here are NPCs, and they're just running off programming. And I think too, this 2020, 2021, the CV has really helped us to see people's programming. Projection is a huge one. Not taking responsibility is another one. And like the sense of entitlement, and the sense of, I kind of alluded to it in my last video, this idea that I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing as I'm told, and people need to do as they're told. And when they've done as they're told, they feel that they're supposed to be rewarded for it. It's like Pavlov's dog, or doing your homework and waiting for the teacher to give you an A, or your father tells you to clean up your room or you won't get your allowance, so you're expecting your allowance, and the only reason you do it is for the allowance. You don't do it because you want a clean room. You clean your room because you won't get your allowance. And this is the main message I'm getting from these compliant people. They aren't doing it for the right reasons. And then if they comply for the right reasons because they're afraid of the V, or they're afraid of the illness, then they shouldn't be upset because they did it for the right reasons. Just like, well, I'm protected now, I should be fine. But they shouldn't be worried or concerned about any of the other stuff. It's like the reason that they took it was to protect them from the illness. So that's sufficient enough. That's reward enough. But a lot of people didn't do it for that reason. They did it to go back to normal. And so those people are expecting to be rewarded. And when they're not rewarded, they're going to act like a bunch of bratty children, because they are a bunch of bratty children. And, that's why they need the system, because they haven't grown up yet. And, we're here because we haven't grown up. We're here because we need the system, or we're here because we need to be witness to what it's like to live like that. And we're here to help. So, there's a few reasons why we're here, but for the most part, these are NPCs that they're just running off a program. Where was I? To the beat of my drum, major revelation for me has been getting into alchemical astrology, total wake-up call. Yes, that's really, really important. And that's a huge piece of the puzzle. What exactly was it about getting into alchemical astrology that you find most impactful or significant? I'm really interested in hearing about it. The thing about these jabs is mRNA is about altering the feminine aspect of DNA. We get RNA from our mothers. Well, that's really interesting, Sephora Bell. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never heard it before, so that's really interesting. If it is true, I'd like to get some more information on it, if you don't mind sending me some. I'm starting to see astrology as another trap, says James Hayton. Well, that's really interesting. Especially since a lot of our conversations are around mostly alchemical astrology or the stars, or so I'm interested in to understand why you say that, James. I see astrology, I think, a different way than astrologers. I've been listening to a lot of astrology podcast videos, and same with tarot card reading, and it hasn't been accurate. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I do think that there is truth to astrology. I do think that there is a missing piece. I think, like everything, there's truth in it, but there's more to it. And I think that the overarching superficial aspect of astrology is probably the red herring, and then there's more to it that is missing, that we have to figure out for ourselves. I do think that there's definitely truth in astrology, truth in the tarot and the Kabbalah, and they're all connected. They're all part of the same thing. I think that the way that we read it, I don't know is accurate. I think that there's a missing piece, and I don't know enough about astrology yet to be able to say what it is. Simply because, like you were saying here, Vedic is more accurate, or alchemical is more accurate. I think that there's a combination of those that has to be read. How do I explain this? I think there's something in the middle, because Vedic, to me, the way I understand it, or the way I explain it to myself, is Vedic is the stars, the heavens, and Western is Earth. I fit more, sometimes more on one than the other, and I'm not wholly one or the other. And maybe that's because I'm on a cusp, but I've noticed that there's certain things in one that apply and certain things in another that apply. And I also have understood that the sidereal, being the heavens, has to do with the mind, and the one on earth has to do with acting it out. So I think that there is a connection between the two that's missing. Follow Victoria Cotton or Lavette. Yeah. Yeah, there's indefinite piece of the puzzle with what they have to say. To the beat of my drum, how we fit into this reality, the path, purpose, and characteristics, how the elements have such an effect on our lives. How we fit into this reality, the path, purpose. Yeah, I agree. Oh my God. Okay. So, yes, I do think that there's definitely pieces of the puzzle from this. James says both shills. I do think Lavette is a shill. Victoria, I'm not so sure. I think she's got some good information. I think she could be genuine. There are some things that, some traps that she falls into. So I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I like Victoria. I like some of the content she puts out, and I don't have proof that she's a shill per se. Lavette, on the other hand, I don't follow her, and I don't trust her. So anyhow, but having said that, you can still get good information from shills. You just have to be mindful and aware that they are what they are. And at some point, they're going to mislead you. So you just have to be cognizant of that. I do think they have a piece of the puzzle, though, and I think it's an important piece of the puzzle. Just don't get carried away with it. Same with Gematria. Again, Gematria, I think, points you in the right direction, but I think that there's a lot of shills in the Gematria world. They teach people how to read codes, which is beneficial, and then they mislead you. They don't tell you that code reading and breaking the code to this place is much simpler than they make it out to be. They don't explain what the codes actually mean. They don't explain, they kind of make you reliant on them. They mix ciphers, which you can't do, because the whole point of numerology is, from my experience, the whole point of breaking down these codes is that it is tied to the zodiac. You understand where words come from. That's why I tend to stick with etymology, because etymology goes to the root meaning of the word, which is rooted in Hebrew and Greek primarily. Most of our words come from the Bible, and the Bible is a piece of literature that is extrapolated from the stars. It is all astrology in the Bible. So all of our words come from the stars. So when you understand that, it's telling you about the tarot play, and you can read the codes through the meanings of words that this system, this beast system, displays for you. I mean, we call it a beast system. Beast is just magnetism. That's all it is. It's not really it's not evil. It's just an external representation of what is within, but it's also a projection of the collective consciousness onto the screen. And we're here to witness it and experience it. We're like viewers of a movie, but we're in the movie. And we're here to watch the movie and be part of the movie. It's an immersive experience in a movie that the stars created, is the best way I can explain it. And so if you want to crack the code, you have to understand what the numbers mean, which is numerology and Kabbalah. You have to understand what the planets represent, which is Kabbalah and also astrology and tarot. And they're all just basically representations or expressions of the same thing. And so that's why, like astrology and interpreting the stars and everything, you need to put the layers together. Same with Kabbalah and tarot and astrology and syncretism. You need to put all those pieces together in order to see through all of it. So that's why you need to break down the language. But Gematria, these Gematria coders, they entangle you in a web of numbers that are meaningless. And my whole point of this tangent I went on was to say that numbers and letters and words have frequencies. Same with colors and music. Everything has a frequency. And that's what Gematria is supposed to explain. It's supposed to explain that this word has this frequency, and this frequency is the equivalent of this word. And that's why the ciphers, you can't go comparing one cipher to another and say that this word, say Phoenix is 91 in this cipher and 88 in this cipher, and then compare it to Trump, which is 88 in another cipher, because it's not the same thing. And I'm just making an example here. They're not, I mean, Trump is 88, but who cares? Like, what does it mean? So the world is on, Veggie Burger says the world is on the verge of war and total economic collapse, and all the US news media and the potato in charge talks about is these vaccines. Yeah, I know. The potato. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm excited about this system collapsing because it needs to go. We have a terrible system and it's got to go. And I know a lot of people are afraid that the new system is going to be worse, but I think that's just fear tactics. It's going to be what you make it. And you can fall prey to the fear tactics and the fear mongering, or you can create a world of your own and make it something wonderful. So I'm going to do the latter. I am going to make my world something wonderful. You're welcome to do the same. But if you're going to be caught up in fear, then that's what you will manifest. So we are here to witness this extraordinary time in history. And there's so many people who are caught up in the fear, and it is quite a magical time. So if you can get to the point where you can let go of the fear, I think that is the biggest gift that you can receive. And you can finally move past that old world mind and create something magical and wonderful for yourself, and move on, go home. Lots of comments. This is wonderful. Yep. Okay, Robin Scott, hello. Yep, I'm definitely not a Leo like I thought I was. I'm a Cancer. We all need to carry our own cross. 3 crosses at Golgotha, cardinal, mutable, fixed. See, Sephora Bell, mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is the small circular chromosome found inside mitochondria. Mitochondrial DNA, mRNA, is passed exclusively from mother to offspring through the egg cell. Well, okay, that's interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to look that up when I have a moment. To the beat of my drum, I think Vedic sidereal is 6 degrees out and tropical mainstream is 23.5 degrees out. I personally don't think they are out. I think that there's only so many things they can lie about, but maybe you know more than I do about it and I'm missing something. It's possible because there's a lot I don't know about astrology, but I think it would be hard for them to lie about it. I think that they are different for a reason. But anyway, To the beat of my drum, both shills, ha ha ha. Free energy solves our biggest problems that way. I think that is a huge piece, absolutely. I think that I saw an article not long ago that we can access radio waves to charge our cell phones. So this is where things are moving, is accessing radio waves. And perhaps that is what 5G is really for. I'm just hypothesizing here. I don't know. So don't take that and run with it. But I think that there's some technology that's coming. It's probably coming back. I mean, obviously it's probably already been in existence, that we can harness ether energy and we don't need to plug things in anymore. So I think this is the new internet. This technology, I think, exists already. I think that we will not any longer need to plug into anything in the near future. Things will charge automatically. And also we will be able to access the internet everywhere, no matter what, simply because of the ether. And maybe that's because things are changing in the atmosphere. Maybe it's just technology that's been revitalized. I don't really know. But I do think that that's where we're headed, is everything is going to be accessed through the ether. And this technology, the internet is essentially, this is why we have the Internet of Things, essentially it's just going to be around us. And this has to evolve slowly, otherwise it's going to scare the shit out of people. But I do think that it is already in operation. We just don't know it yet. And eventually this technology's got to be trickled out so it doesn't scare people. That's how I see things evolving, and pretty rapidly too. James Hayton, VC is fear, fear, fear. That's why I think she's caught in these traps. She's caught in a lot of these fear traps. And a lot of people, I kind of give people a little bit of leeway because a lot of people don't get over the fear trap. But I do think that certain people with their knowledge at a certain level should be over the fear trap. That I agree with. If they aren't over the fear trap by a certain point in their journey, it's a big red flag. So it is possible. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. So anyway, personality issues aside, everybody's got their personality and their quirks. And I don't fault people for their personality. There are some channels that I can't watch because, they aren't very good at presenting, or their voice is really annoying. And as much as I try or like to listen to them, I just can't. It's unfortunate, but some people it's just not a fit for certain people. That's not to do with VC at all. That's just an example of overarching example of personality quirks. Interesting. Yeah, take a bit from everything. Yes, good point. Sometimes good info. To the beat of my drum. Yeah, both are partial to the fear porn. Yeah, anybody pushing fear porn. And this is why I think Levette is a shill. Because the things that she's supposed to be privy to, the knowledge that she's supposed to know, doesn't line up with her life experience, doesn't line up with how she presents herself. There's a lot of other red flags that I won't get into because this isn't about shills or her or anything, but since people brought it up, I will address it. But you know, she serves a purpose, but I do think that she is a fisherman. I think she is there to lure people in, and I think too that a lot of these truthers have migrated off YouTube in order to get truthers off YouTube and hide truth. And this is why I won't leave YouTube. It's also why I won't have a Patreon. I won't put it behind a paywall, because truth should be accessible to all people. However, I'm open to receiving contributions, as this is the only thing I do. I don't have a job anymore. But you know, the agenda seems to be taking people off YouTube, and I think Lavette is a fisherman, and she is pulling people who know certain things into her camp and keeping them there. Same with her buddy Quantum of Conscience. He's a shill, and he's a fisherman too. So anyhow, where are we here? Possibly paranoid. Typing going well for me. James, it's simpler than they make it out to be. All is mind. Absolutely, it is simpler than they make it out to be. Lots of decodes on Facebook did exactly that. Lots of decoders on Facebook did exactly that. What did they do to the beat of my drum? What did the decoders on Facebook do? Oh, here I thought we were turning out. So much of it can be subjective and based on perspective and personal experiences. So much of what? Decoding, you mean? Well, everything's subjective. Everything runs through your perspective. So I know a lot of people object to the idea that there's an objective reality. However, how can you and I both see something outside of ourselves simultaneously and see it the same way? We both agree that there's a tree, and we both agree that the tree looks a certain way. However, I can say that the tree is a big tree, and you can say the tree is a small tree, and that's your perception. That is your personal experience that it is filtered through. So there's quantitative and qualitative analysis that is part and parcel of this experience. And so I do think that there is an external reality that is manifested from the ego or the demiurge, and that is the projection. And we interpret it through our personal filter, which creates the feedback loop. So the more that we focus on what is, the more we perpetuate what is. So it is very complicated and nuanced and yet simple. I mean, the fact that it has both these layers to it, that it is simultaneously simple and complex, is just absolutely phenomenal, absolutely magical. When you realize the simplicity of it and its complexity, it just blows your mind. And yes, and you know, take the fear out of it. But it is much simpler. The thing that cracked the code for me was realizing that everything is one story. Everything is your story. Everything is 911. Everything. Everything boils down to IXXI. And once you crack that, it is so simple. And understanding the meaning of 0 to 9, understanding the single digit code that Lord Osseron breaks down. That man is a freaking genius. If you haven't watched his videos, I highly recommend you go watch his whiteboard videos and understand them, because it is a major piece of the puzzle. He will explain to you the meaning of the Kabbalah and the tarot and how it connects to the 0 to 9 and what the numbers mean. And that to me is more valuable than Gematria. Gematria is garbage. There's some things in it that are helpful and pointing you the right direction, but beyond that, it's trash. It is meaningless. I think the issue facing humanity is we have been deprived of the real tools on how to heal ourselves and each other. This lack of healing makes us vulnerable to the system, and it feeds off this. Sephora Bell, absolutely, that's part of it. Yeah. I think the biggest problem is that we've lied to ourselves, and we continue to lie to ourselves, and everybody's still lying to themselves. So you have to be honest with yourself, and that's a big piece of the puzzle. And it's hard. It's really hard, and it's painful. It's a painful process, and that's where the healing comes in, when you start being honest with yourself and you heal yourself. You heal your chakras, your 911, your rainbow bridge, and then you can heal yourself and heal others. Until you do that, you're going to be reliant on the system. And understanding that all is mind, which is, if you don't have a handle on your mind, other people will control it for you. If you don't know your own mind, if you don't know how your mind works, if you don't know how you think, then other people will do it for you, and you won't even realize it. And there are truthers who still don't have a handle on their mind, and they get triggered, and they lose their shit, and they go off spiraling, and hopefully they come back and they get it sorted and they heal it, and then they realize, oh shit, I had a moment there, and then they heal it and they come back and they're like, okay, I figured out what was missing and what I was doing, and I solved it, I healed it. Otherwise, you can go insane. If you lose a handle on how you think, lose a handle on your mind, you will go insane. And I've seen it happen. And psychosis in the truther community is massive. You get a hold, and that's another thing with the truther community, is a lot of people, again, are still not thinking for themselves. They're still relying on other people to do the thinking for them. And yes, you can get plenty of information from a variety of people, shills included. But if you don't do the thinking yourself, and you don't sit there and put the pieces together yourself, you're going to allow other people to do it for you. You're going to end up holding on to simultaneously conflicting pieces of information that don't fit together. And then you're going to wonder, well, I don't know what to think. So take the information, but make sure you still do the thinking yourself, and make sure that you put the pieces of the puzzle together yourself. And then you'll be able to detect who's a shill, who's not, and who's lying to you, who's not. And then even then, at some point, that becomes irrelevant, because it's the information. And you, like I said, you can still take that information from shills and make it work and understand it and interpret it. I can listen to people who are deluded into thinking, we're on a spinning ball or whatever, and see through all of their misinterpretations and flip it and say, okay, this is how this person sees the world. I can understand it from that perspective. So let's take that information and move it over to my language. How does that translate? And what can I extract from it? And what's meaningful and valuable to me from this piece of information? And if there's nothing there, then I won't listen to them. But if there's something there, I can extrapolate it and listen to it. And some things I just can't tolerate. I can't tolerate listening to some people because of their, like, especially people caught up in fear. I can't listen to that anymore. It's anybody like preppers or end of the worlders or the reset mud flutters. I can't listen to them. They're just all wrong. Where are we here? Well, where did we go? Yes, it's magical indeed. Everyone needs to be responsible for themselves. The internet is a new smoking habit. Yes, and I'm addicted, but that's because I have a YouTube channel. And also it's fascinating what's going on right now. A video on YouTube of a guy making an aerial and getting a perfect signal. Need to learn welding. Oh, that's interesting. Family and friends are priceless. Happy Christmas. Thanks, Anthony. LiFi replacing Wi-Fi. What's LiFi? Telepathy will become more prevalent. I agree with you to the beat of my drum. I agree with you about the telepathy. I think that's why, it's partly why we're going through this truth situation and this purge and cleansing, is because we need to clear this world of the negativity and the judgment and the harshness and the unnecessary conflict of the duality system has to go. So when that goes, then there's nothing to hide anymore, and we can freely express ourselves through telepathy, because we'll be able to read each other's minds, whether it's organically or inorganically or through AI or what have you. I think AI is just the artificial construct overlay that is mimicking the organic that is going to happen anyway. Yep, I agree with you. Fear traps. Be yourself and be nice. It costs nothing and means a lot, even if you don't think. Yeah. Money helps, but memories are priceless to money. Absolutely. There's no value outside oneself. Yep. I hope everyone has a good Christmas. They're always worst of than you. I don't quite understand that. I think there's a word missing. Clean slate. Remember the good old days when we didn't grasp how far they would push this, and you had the video of the guy faking a cough to clear the line for him. Funny video. I don't remember the video of the guy who had a cough to clear the line, but funny. I did see one the other day of this video of this guy on the subway, and he started coughing to clear the subway's car so he'd have a seat to himself. And then he got angry with people trying to impose on his space. He said, nope, 6 feet apart, stay away. I mean, he was kind of mean about it, but it was still funny. Mixed ciphers. Anthony, night everyone. Okay, bye. Beat of my drum. Decoders on Facebook spelt words incorrectly. Then when asked that this would make a difference, a different figure in Gematria numerology, I'd be told I didn't grasp it, wasn't aware of similar BS. Aha, yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. It's like, I don't know, because I'm not on Facebook. I am not familiar with these decoders on Facebook, but yeah, they do kind of have this sleight of hand deception thing going, and they don't explain themselves. And, part of that could be chalked up to inexperience for some people. But I have noticed that a lot of amateur decoders, and, I'm still an amateur. I've only been doing it for a year and a half, but I do it almost every day. And it's almost like a language to me that I see everywhere. But I do see baby decoders, shall we say, who got caught up in the Gematria world, and they're doing it wrong. They're like James said, it's much simpler than they're making it out to be, and they're taking things and a lot of people read the wrong codes into things. Again, like I said, it does filter through you. So if you have a fear-based perspective, then you're going to see things in a fear-based way. But I do see a lot of decoders doing it wrong, and they're misleading people on how to decode things and doing it wrong. I mean, I don't always get everything right. There's so many messages in there that it's hard to get all of them, and it's not the point. There's no need to get them all. The point is to find the message and extract the message from the event or the news story or the movie, and to get to the subtext of it. And it's just basically understanding the language that's being said underneath. It's the subtext that's being said underneath. They're speaking in code. And when you know that and you understand that and what the message is, then you know how to read it. But a lot of these decoders, they're doing it wrong on purpose. And then there's the baby decoders who they've innocently been misled and they just don't know quite how to do it, and they're reading it wrong. So yeah, you got to be careful of these Gematria coders. They will mislead you. My advice with Gematria is just use it as a tool as needed, and use only the solid ciphers that are tied to the zodiac and Greek and Hebrew numerology. The letters in the Greek and Hebrew alphabet are tied to numbers, and those numbers have frequencies, and those numbers are tied to the zodiac, and those are solid. So there's only like a couple of ciphers that I will rely on. One is Chaldean, and the other one is, I think, just English, like ordinal English, the ABs, the 1 to 26, and also like the 1 to 7 and the 7 to 1. So 1 to 7 being A to G, and then you go from 7 to 1, G to N. So those are the only ones that I will rely on. But, if you find something different, that works great, and I'd be happy to hear about it. But those, I don't really dig too deep into Gematria for that reason. It's painful, but worth it. I've said that about the male member. I kind of think that you might be spamming. Knight from Ireland. Okay, bye, Anthony. God was bored. You need time alone. This guy, somebody get rid of this guy. This guy, where'd he go? God was bored. Is there a moderator can boot this guy out? Night for intuition and discernment are paramount. Absolutely. Yeah, intuition is your heart. You follow your heart. And intuition is something we're trained in this system to ignore and avoid and use our head. And yes, all is mind, but you have to connect your mind to your heart, which is what we have to do here. And everything here is designed to separate you from your heart. That's why the love we have here is not real love. It's a superficial representation, and it's a selfish version because everybody is out to get love, extract love, and not give it and receive it. And so there's an imbalance, and it's a mean, selfish, hurtful kind of love. It's not true love. So that's part of the problem. So yes, intuition is wholly important, and intuition is your guide, and intuition will tell you what is true and what is not. And you have to, like your body is an instrument, and the chakras are music notes, and you need to tune your instrument so that you are in tune with your intuition, so that you hear yourself speak, you hear source, and it only comes from the heart. So there was a moment where I was asking myself in a sort of meditation, and I thought, where am I? Where am I? And I resides here in the heart. That's why Jesus points to the heart. I am that. I am heart. James Hayton, do you think there are only so many that will make that mind bridge, and do you think there's a limited time period? Oh yeah, somebody above mentioned something about time running out. Yes. However, I mean, what I think really doesn't matter, because what is what is. But I do think that there's only a certain number of living beings here, and the rest are NPCs. Not everybody's going to make it. I don't know if all the living beings are already awakened or not. I think that simply because we're still here, there's probably still some stragglers. But I think that there's a reason why this purge is happening. I think that there is the reason the living beings are awakening. I think that all of them will awaken, and we are at the end of the story, the end of the Taurus, the end of the world. And so the people who are meant to awaken will awaken. Anybody else is either an NPC or is on a different journey. So it's kind of a bit of both. That's my opinion. Like I said, my opinion doesn't really mean anything, because whatever is whatever it is, and I don't know for certain, and I don't know if anybody can know for certain. But maybe some people do. Maybe some people do know for certain. I don't have a TV, yay, but best decision ever, getting rid of the box. Yeah, I mean, I don't technically have television, but I do have Netflix and Prime and YouTube and the internet. So I still watch TV, but I don't watch the news, and I don't watch commercials, and I'm much happier for it. I'm very selective about what I watch, so that's very helpful. But I personally don't think that it's beneficial for me to cut out television entirely, because there's so much truth in television, and I have learned a lot of truth through television and movies. And I like television and movies. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been in film and TV. And there's just so much truth there. There's why would I not watch it? I want to learn. So I don't think that it's beneficial to me to cut that off. And I do watch the news through YouTube when I need to, for whatever purposes. But I don't have traditional television anymore. I'll probably always be ones that know and the ones that don't know. LIFI is internet by LED lighting. Oh, okay. Interesting. I bet most of the UNV don't own TVs. I have a TV, but, like I said, I don't have traditional cable or anything. Coughing in shops is what a true rebel does. Li-Fi is a wireless communication technology which utilizes light to transmit data and position between devices. Wow, that's fascinating. Well, light is basically plasma, so that's interesting. Okay. Dan T, nice to see you. Hey, do you have many truther friends out in your neck of the woods? I have a handful. I have a couple of people who I see in person, and friend I talk to on the phone regularly. And I have, in terms of like physically here, couple of people who I see in person, and they're close enough. So yes, I am very selective about who I socialize with, and it is a blessing to have people in my life who see. And the more you see, the harder it is to have friends in this world who also see what you see. So to have anybody that I can talk to freely is a blessing. So I hope that you all have someone, and if you don't, then manifest one. Focus on being grateful for the people that you do have to talk to, and hopefully you will find one in your neck of the woods. I sneezed in a shop a couple of months ago. I do my best not to, because I don't want to attract unnecessary attention, negative attention. So yeah, I try not to. Time running out until the reboot. Do you think this could be for the great solar eclipse in 2024? I don't really want to make predictions because they don't usually work out. I really don't know when things are going to happen, or anything about timing, because really that's something that's beyond my vision. I just sort of take it day by day, and whatever comes, whatever I need to deal with, I deal with. I think that there's a story that needs to play out, and when the story is played out, then that's the end of the story, and we start a new one. Whether that is here or somewhere else, what this place will look like, I don't know. I do think that there's massive change coming. This world will look completely different in many ways. And in many ways, it might just stay very much the same. I just I welcome the change because it's inevitable. There's nothing I can do about it. And it is what you make of it. I'm planning on making it into something wonderful and magical, because that's my focus. And I know that everything here is love, and everything is here for the purpose of my awakening. So why wouldn't it be? If your focus is on negativity and fear, then you're going to manifest negativity and fear. So you really don't want to do that, do you? I was referring to something you said a while ago. I'm a longtime follower and was on your Discord too. Okay, sorry if I misunderstood. God was bored. Some of your messages seemed a little bit suspect. So I apologize if I misinterpreted your messages. And yeah, I just have to be vigilant with messages, because we've had some people infiltrate and leave some really sketchy messages. And so I apologize. Welcome. Where do you think individuals need to be in mind in order to make the grade? James, that's a loaded question. Can you be a little more specific in terms of, because that's a big question. I mean, in terms of like how to explain it, in terms of where people need to be in mind, it is out of the duality. And so it is a very intangible explanation for answering your question. And for people who don't understand what that means, I don't know how else to explain it. It's why a lot of my videos, I've been basically repeating myself in trying to explain what it's like to be out of the duality. And essentially you need to be out of fear. That fear mind has got to go. You have to confront your fears. You have to be out of the duality. So this us versus them mentality has to go. You have to see that everything is love and everything is here for the purpose of your awakening. You have to know it. You can't intellectualize it. You can't say, oh, I know it in my mind. You have to know it here. You have to live it here. It has to be a revelation to you. You have to see it. You have to live it. So unless, this is why you have to connect your heart with mind, because if you are only living from mind, you are still lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself because you haven't connected it with your heart. You're walking around saying, I know I'm supposed to be, this is like the love and light of the New Age, or even Christianity, or any religion that tells you you have to be pure or good, or do good things and do good deeds, and that's the path to righteousness, and that's the path out of here, which is not true. It's not entirely true. There are many paths out. There's not one path. And the idea of being just being good and doing good deeds is a false light, simply because you're not dealing with your darkness. You're not embracing your darkness. You're hiding your darkness. You're embarrassed by your darkness, and your darkness is going to come back to bite you in the butt if you don't deal with it. And this is why you get Christian guilt. This is why you have pedophiles in Christian or Catholic schools and Catholic churches, and because they haven't dealt with their darkness, because they're supposed to be this pure, good, love and light being, and it's wrong to have sexual urges, or it's wrong to want anything in the physical. It's wrong to have any of these dark thoughts or negative thoughts, or say something negative, or react in a negative way, and penalizing or punishing you. You're the only one doing it. You're the only one doing it to yourself. You force a divide, you force a split. You're trying to push yourself into the angel side, and you're ignoring your devil side. And what you need to do is marry the two and accept both of them and heal both of them. And then they both disappear, and you just become pure. You become whole. And that's what it means to be holy, is you have accepted yourself as you are, in your wholeness, as perfect. Everything here is as it should be and is perfect. That doesn't mean you don't have work to do. It just means you need to heal and reconcile the damage, not necessarily damage, but the trauma that's been inflicted on you, or the negative thoughts, the thoughts that you have imposed on yourself through society, imposing thoughts on yourself of how you should be and what you should be. And you need to find your authenticity, your gold, your light, your AU. So you asked a hell of a question. But so in the sense of what it looks like of someone who has done the work, I mean, don't expect someone to be perfect. Don't expect someone who's done the work to be one of these guru, perfect, holier than thou types, because we're all people, and that kind of way of living is impossible. And you shouldn't be imposing that impossibility on yourself. Otherwise, you're going to fail, because you're ignoring part of who you really are. You're not being authentic. You're not being true to who you really are if you ignore all of that. It's not an excuse to be an asshole. So you have to accept that if you are an asshole, or you have a tendency to be an asshole, or the potential to be an asshole, we all have a potential to be an asshole. We all have bad days. We all get triggered. We all have, if you're confronted by someone who's being an asshole to you, then sometimes the reaction is to be an asshole back. Doesn't make it wrong. Doesn't make you an asshole in your entirety. That is the pure definition of who you really are. Not at all. It's just an aspect of who you are. And you just have to accept, hey, this is a quality that I have. Sometimes it's beneficial to me because I need it. And other times it's not beneficial to me because I hurt people. But sometimes you need it to defend yourself. Sometimes you need it to exist here. Sometimes you need it, and it is helpful for you to defend yourself. So you have to recognize the whole of who you are. You have to be true and authentic to yourself. You have to unite heart and mind. You have to live from your intuition. You have to collapse the rainbow bridge. And what I mean by that is healing your chakras, because your chakras is your heart divided. And when you collapse the rainbow bridge, you've healed your chakras and they go back to heart, and you're living from the heart-mind connection. And so that's kind of how I see it. I don't know if there's more you want from that. But yeah, you're not going to, and don't expect people to be total goody goodies, because that's not authentic. And the people who are goody goodies haven't explored their dark side. And that doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be goody goodies. Some people are naturally just good people. There's just a lot more. There's expansion that comes from exploring their dark side, and they can realize that they have much more to offer, and there's much more to them by exploring their dark side. So I think that's definitely expecting people to be one thing is not authentic. And I think it is evident in your behavior. It is evident in how you live if you have joined your heart to your mind and you've collapsed the rainbow bridge and you have married the opposites. And it isn't it's still a process. There's still things that you have to deal with. There's still things that arise that you get triggered and you have to deal with, but you deal with them faster. And I don't think that you should expect people to be these like religious gurus who are, holier than thou, because you should allow yourself the space to make mistakes, allow yourself the space to let your I don't want to say negative or your negative qualities, because those negative qualities can also be beneficial. So like the tool for being an asshole is beneficial to you in defending yourself, but then you can get to a point where you've married the two and you realize you don't need it anymore. So the things that used to bother you that you need to be an asshole about, you don't need to do that anymore because those things don't bother you anymore. And a lot of that just sort of fades away in the whole process as you grow and develop in marrying the opposites and collapsing the rainbow bridge. So I hope that was concise enough, because I think that's probably the best way I've explained it yet. Howdy, Yolanda. Crimson King, nice to see you. Hope you're well. It's very much winter in southern BC, and none lockdown is in full gear. The new lockdown is in full gear. My senses were on high alert today. Not sure what is going on, but I am not afraid. Yeah, good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's another lockdown, but they got to put the pressure on for things to flip. So we're just getting closer to things flipping. But hi in BC, glad to hear you're okay. God was bored, no problem, I understand. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you accepting my apology. Where we currently are, Your answers are amazing. You're amazing. Thank you for being you. Thanks that way. James Hayton, so good. Perfect. Thank you. Be authentic. Yes. The inner purge darkness is the black goo of transformation. I'm not overly familiar with the black goo stuff. I did look into it back in 2017. I don't really find much substance behind it, so I'm just kind of putting a tack in it and don't really find much use for it. So I think it's just kind of I think it's an allegory for something else, a metaphor for something else, and a little bit of fear mongering mixed in. So I think that's what that is. But, if there's something else I'm missing, happy to hear it. If it's beneficial, at the moment, I just don't see any use for it. Be your own guru. Yep. GURU. Thank you. That's spot on. Thank you. GMS Slayer. Hi, Yolanda Hunt Beach is raining and cold. Hello. Raining and cold. Well, here it is a little chilly. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. And for those of you who don't know, I live in Canada. I live near Toronto. And so far, we've had a very mild winter. It's been quite nice. A friend of mine who is awake, she and I decided we were going to manifest a warm winter. And so far, we're doing really well. So I'm quite happy about that. Black goo is the dark side, allegory for metamorphosis. Yeah, that would make sense to me. So yeah, I don't see it as an actual literal thing, this black goo stuff. But yeah, it could be definitely an allegory for the dark side. So yeah, it's your old friend Jeff. Jeff? You're gonna have to refresh my memory, Jeff. Here in Yorkshire, the butterfly is born out of goo. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, you're gonna have to refresh my memory, Jeff. I don't recognize your handle, your GMS Slayer. So you'll have to give me a little bit more information. Oh, nobody knows. Hi, how are you? It's good to see you. Do you feel yourself holding back at all? Holding back in what sense? About what specifically? While you're typing, I will answer in terms of what I am holding back in certain things. I do censor myself. I make videos and then don't upload them because I don't like the content. I don't like the frequency it has. I don't like the energy it has. I feel like maybe it's just for me to purge. It's not something that people need to hear. And I do hold back a lot of times to avoid saying something I regret sometimes. And it gets easier. One thing that I definitely hold back on is commenting. And I have been very restrained in in telling people, yeah, that's the wrong path, and don't listen to this person, and this person's a shill, and this person's telling you lies. And I'm just like, you know what? You do you. If you want to go down that path, that's your journey. But the minute somebody tries to impose it on me and say, hey, you got to look at this, like, no, I've been down that path. I don't need to go there again. I will say that, but I'm not imposing on other people and pointing out things anymore. And I've had to hold back on saying those things because I saw it as helping, and now I see it as interfering, and people have to take their own journey and their own path. And unless somebody specifically asks me for help or specifically asks me for my opinion, I tried not to say anymore. And it's not that easy, especially when I'm like moderating a chat, like in Discord or whatever. But I've been holding back to just let people figure out stuff on their own, unless they ask me specifically. But yeah, so in terms of things like, if I watch videos, I very rarely comment anymore. Sometimes I need an outlet, and I will go and watch a news story, and I'll leave a comment. And I will get caught up in some argument with some, bot or troll or planted agent, and they say stupid shit, and then I just like get caught up in that, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't want to be entangled in this, and so I just leave. But yeah, I do hold back with that, and I do hold back with just sharing what I know, because I find too, I've put out videos where I get attacked, and all I'm trying to do is help people, and I'm just like, well, fuck it then. You don't want help, you don't want to know about this, then so that's your problem. I don't need to share this information. I'm trying to help you, and I'm putting out free information, and all I'm getting back is attacked, and you obviously don't want to hear it, so why bother? And so now I do these videos for me, but I do it for anybody who wants to hear as well, and for the connection between me and you, so that we feel less alone. But yeah, I do hold back. Okay. Well, Emerald Rider is in the chat, and I appreciate that you are apologizing. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So anti-vax, anti-gov surfer dude from Huntington Beach. Anti-vax, anti-government surfer dude. He's still not helping. I still don't know. Water fasting does this to me. I tried to manifest a warm winter. They're calling for lows of -20 next week. Oh no, what did you do wrong? I don't know what you did wrong. I don't know. We managed to do it pretty easily over here, so I don't know. Authenticity is key. Be who I am. If I was to have a problem with someone, the problem would be mine. Okay. I think it goes both ways. You're responsible for what you put out into the world. You're also responsible for how you interpret things. And the other person is responsible for the same. And so, if there's an issue between the two of you, it's both. So you got to figure out what's your stuff, what's their stuff. Truther, seeker, stubborn, anti-propaganda, eyes open, Fibonacci, flower child. Yeah, you got to be more specific. I don't recognize your handle. I don't know anybody from Huntington Beach. Fill in the blank. Most had jabs as kids. Anti is a weapon-like racist, anti-Semitic, anti-forcing an evil product into peaceful people going extinct. And I don't really follow. I asked this in your last stream, but I think it's a question that can be asked again since it's been a month. Who are you currently? Who are my current YouTube recommendations? Well, thanks for asking. I don't have really a lot of new people. Still stick by my trusted Epiphany lectures. Santos's syncretism. If you don't like Santos, then find somebody else who does syncretism. Also, Lord Osseron. Who else do I watch? Seal Lion. I highly recommend as well. I Am Truth Or's videos for understanding how the TV talks to you. Who else? Let's see. Yes. Devin Maggi. His recent stuff has been very much on the same level as my stuff, as how I see things. He's very good at articulating what most people can't explain. And, years ago, I first got into the truth community, I guess you would say, in 2017. And back then, it was mostly flat earth and there's a lot of shills involved. And I remember Devin Maggi being involved in the blood over intent stuff. And that's a cult shill thing. And flat earth stuff, again, from an angle of the cult flat earth shill thing. So I put him in that camp and didn't watch his stuff because of it. And he also was associated with Martin Kenny, flat earth shill. I do like, however, Martin Kenny's, I like his Cosmic Egg video. That's about it. And he and Devin Maggi split ways. Doesn't seem to have been amicably, but that's my interpretation. So I don't know whether he was a shill or is still a shill, but he has some really good information. And I haven't heard him say much about blood over intent lately, but his videos as of late in the last few years have been brilliant and insightful. And, he does have a few things that are not in agreement with how I view things. Doesn't really matter. You can sort of, like I say, translate them, but his content is excellent. And so shill or not, I really don't give a shit. His content is excellent. So, so yeah, I'm sure there are people I'm leaving out. But I don't watch a huge amount of truther content. I like Jason Bickford's stuff. He's I like how he sees things. He has a very interesting way of seeing things and explaining things, and he's very unique. He sees things from a very like a Gnostic perspective, which I'm not really Gnostic. I don't I don't think that the Nag Hammadi and the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Enoch are genuine. So I don't really subscribe to any of those. And I think there's truth in it because it comes from religious texts, and they have used them to put into these texts to make them seem legitimate. And I think that there's truth in them. I just don't think that those are real. I don't think that they're legit. So, however, it doesn't really matter. I like his perspective. He has very interesting things to say, and he's worth watching. Love your channel from Ireland, Ancient Irish. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. 8 degrees at 1:40 here in Yorkshire. That sounds nice and warm. It's -1 degree here in Canada, and it is 8:45 p.m. Responding to the anti-shill comment, spiritual vapor. It's warm in the UK. Middlesbrough, Selby. My creative playlists, check them out if you need any information that you don't already have. Worked on Drax. What's Drax? I don't know what that is. So, anybody got anything more they would like to add or say or share or ask? If not, I can just wrap it up. But yeah, this has been a really, really informative and interesting chat. I have enjoyed it. Ixie's nowhere around. She's actually decided to chill. She's decided to chill. Eternal Padawan, thanks for joining. Drax is a power station. Okay. Well, Eternal Padawan, if you have a question you want to ask, you can stay a little longer. I got nowhere else to go. We have something of a lockdown here. Me being, unvied. There's nowhere for me to go on a Thursday night before Christmas. But been really open tonight. Thank you. Well, I try to be open all the time. Obviously, if I get attacked, I get defensive. So I won't be that open when that happens. But yeah, like if you got anything you want to ask, now's the time to do it. We got 33 people in the chat. Okay, I missed something here. What about the plasma reset? So when you say plasma reset, what do you mean by that? Because, okay, plasma reset that's put out by the shill factory is bogus. And I'm not really sure what plasma reset is supposed to be. In terms of like this cataclysmic end of the world type thing, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's coming. I don't buy into the mud flood stuff. There's no scientific evidence for it. It's not backed up by science, and it's not backed up by history. And, there's definitely some suspicious things that happened in the past, but yeah, that's a big old trap. Plasma reset, I don't, like these people who, Brian Austin Lambert, 33, is a big old shill, and he's full of fear. He just wants you to, get all caught up in prepping and fear. And I didn't just watch his videos, okay? So I watched all his videos. I took notes. I researched everything that he claimed was happening, and I debunked all of it. He's a shill. He's full of shit, and everything he says is trash. There's a microcosm of truth in some of the things that he says, but he's full of shit. So, yeah. What are your view on he reps? What's he reps? Love the chat. Thank you. Glad you love the chat. Glad you're having fun. We have to get past the trickery and on to the nitty gritty. How's the work going, if at all? I know they want you lead. Yeah, I don't work anymore. It's like, I can't wear a mask for 14 hours a day and I won't get tested. So I have no job. I haven't had a job for since July in 2020. Well, actually, since the lockdown back in March 2020. And I've been on government assistance, and now I am on nothing. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. The towers at Eggborough have been demolished. I'm not familiar with towers of Eggborough. Agbra, Cadabra, hi TrueLove, hi, nice to see you. Have you advice on how to deal with attacks as in demonic, satanic, empath? Yes, I do. So early on in my truth journey, I went through what is known as demonic attacks or this sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about it in length in an in-depth story some time ago. So in one of my previous chats, I know they're long, but it's in there somewhere. Point is, I've experienced it, and I'm not going to go through the story again. Basically, if you are caught up in fear and you hit upon the truth, the ego or the system starts to attack you because the ego senses its death when you awaken. So it attacks you and you perceive things. It's all perception. Everything is mind. So you have to change your perception. And basically, the only way out of it, this is the same thing to do with targeted individuals. It's all perception. It's all you doing it. You are the one who's doing it. You are the one who's perceiving it and creating it. And when you realize that, you can get out of it. The problem with a lot of people who feel that they're subject to demonic attacks or they're gang stalked or targeted individuals is they label themselves as targeted individuals. They label themselves as being attacked, and therefore they perpetuate this reality because now they see it everywhere. And part of that is they make things out to be something they are not. They manifest situations that perpetuate this perspective. And so they tend to believe it. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means that you have the power to stop it because you're the one creating it. But if you call yourself a targeted individual or subject to demonic attacks, then you make yourself the victim and you have no power. You have to take back your power. You have to understand that you're the one creating it. Get out of the fear. Stop perpetuating the fear. The only reason that you're manifesting these things is because of the fear. Get to the point where you see it for what it is and stop it. Take your power back. Own it. And see things differently. Force yourself to look at it and say, is there another way for me to look at this? And change your perspective. It's that simple. And a lot of people will argue and say, Well, yeah, but it's really happening. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that you created it in your mind and it's manifesting. So you have the power to de-manifest it. So the minute you start to defend it, you're just defending it to cling to it, to hold on to it. So you have to stop defending it. You have to stop pointing at it and saying that it's real, because it's not real. It isn't real. It's an illusion that it's real. And the same goes for a lot of things, pretty much everything. So de-manifest it. We touched on a time limit earlier to make the grade. Oh yes, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, like I said, I think that I think time is ticking. Definitely, I think we're reaching the end of the story. I don't know exactly like a set date or anything, but I do think that time is ticking. I do think that there's a limit, and I think it's close. I mean, it's obviously within our lifetime. I do think that here's how I intuitively see it. Whether it's accurate or not, I don't know, but I intuitively see it as this, I guess, reset that you can say we're going through right now. I see it as this is the time frame that you have to purge everything and heal everything. And so I guess in the sense of a time frame, 2025-ish, I think, simply because that's the time frame for this reset, and the speed with which we are evolving and changing and naturally purging. A lot of this stuff will happen naturally if you're meant to go through it, if you're meant to change. And some people are noticing natural changes to their diet or changes to their lifestyle, or they end up moving, or they end up losing their jobs, or they end up, whatever it is, this lifestyle change is happening organically without actually doing anything. So there may not be something for you to actually do and say, okay, well, what do I need to do by what time in order to ascend? It doesn't work that way. If you're aware of it, yes, you can work on it. But there are also things that are just naturally helping you along. Like you look at the past, like your whole life and how you ended up where you are. A lot of it just happened naturally. You didn't actually think, I need to do this in order to ascend, because you weren't even aware of it. There were just things that came into your life because this was the journey that you were on. So I think a lot of this is just going to happen naturally. I do think that this situation that we're in with this reset has to do with getting into the singularity or getting out of the duality. I think in the next couple of years, we have to move into the new mind. And I think from that point on, everything will be different. So it's up to you when that happens. And if you're still in the fear, your hurdle to overcome is to get into love, get into true love. So I think everybody has an individual timeline, but I think it's within the span of the next 3 years, and you just shift when you're ready. Does that answer your question? Mud floods are there to muddy the waters and flood the mind. Oh, that's so well put. I really like that. It's so well put. Exactly. Do you think objective reality exists, or is everything subjective? Abracadabra. I did mention this earlier in the chat. I don't know if you were here or not, but I personally think there is an objective reality. I think this is why there is a dream within a dream. There is the objective reality, which is the egoic mind, or the demiurge, which is the external physical reality of the objective reality, which is the manifestation of the ego, or the collective consciousness. So that's why you and I can see the same thing. And, if there is no objective reality, then there's no other person here. There's only one. And in some sense, there is only one, but we're all part of a larger experience, a larger entity, which is source. So I see it as, again, part of this duality of the singularity and the duality of the objective and the subjective. I think that the objective reality is the physical manifestation of this realm, of this world, the mind of the demiurge, and our contribution to it. And the subjective reality is our personal experience, the dream within the dream, the personal experience that we have as living beings in this greater objective reality. And whether it's concrete or not is irrelevant. It's you and I as two living beings sharing the same physical space and the same physical reality. You have your existence and your perspective and your world within the world, your dream within the dream, same as I have mine. And I also think that is what parallel universes are. My universe, your universe. We exist we exist parallel to each other, but in terms of like parallel universes that are exact replicas of this universe that collapse onto itself with minuscule differences, I don't believe in any of that. Everything is here, and the parallel universe is the difference in frequency. And you shift frequencies, you change your experience, you change your reality. So it's the frequency that changes your experience, but it's all here and it's all now. So I hope that explains it. But yeah, I don't buy into this sort of sci-fi science fiction explanation of what parallel universes are, and that also falls into Mandela Effect, which I don't agree with either. So that to me is a trap. The Mandela Effect is a trap into getting you to believe in this sci-fi science fiction of parallel realities that doesn't exist, and that also the idea of like quantum reality, quantum entanglement, and this idea of I think that what Mandela Effect is also to hide the truth that I uncovered with the TV talking to you. I think it is to hide that everything is alive. And so they've manufactured this Mandela Effect thing to distract you from that. But simultaneously point you to that. Again, the duality of, yes, we're presenting you with this to distract you and give you an explanation and take you over here, but we're also here to point you to this as a clue that there's something else going on and you need to pay attention to this. What is this? This is a clue of another piece to the puzzle. And all of the main ones, like there's some garbage Mandela effects, but the main Mandela effects are also clues into explaining the nature of this reality, such as mirror, mirror, and objects in mirror closer than they appear. This is the mirror. This external reality is the mirror of what is within. The mirror, mirror. Objects in mirror closer than they appear because it's right here. It's the physical reality. So, and Berenstain and Berenstein, it's AI, it's EI to AI, which is EI, earthly intelligence, to artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of codes and clues within that. So to me, they're putting it out there as a revelation and a clue to lead you in the right direction, to say, hey, something is up here. But yeah, I don't agree with that. way of explaining things. And I think that is a lot of these are metaphors or explanations to what is really going on. Same with the double slit experiment, which is also a cartoon. So they want you to believe that reality doesn't exist until you observe it, which is not true. It exists in the sense that it exists, but it isn't this video game rendering thing that doesn't exist until you look at it, because the double slit experiment is bogus and it is only shown in a cartoon. There is no particle to a wave. It's all wave. So there's no such thing as particles. So that's false too. So where am I? Okay. Have you thought about doing audiobooks? I think you have a good voice for it. Oh, thank you. I don't really have time to do audiobooks at the moment. I'm basically, I know my purpose is to do truth, and I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. So I know that there are a handful of people who are meant to do truth, and I think I'm one of them. And I don't have time to do anything else, and I know I'm supposed to do this, so I can't do anything else. Not right now anyway. And I know that later on I will probably do movies or something with truth that will help people if necessary. And, maybe truth related audiobooks or something like that. I wanted to do a podcast, but again, I don't have time. There's just too many. I already have so many platforms. I'm literally doing this all day, every day. I may not put videos out every day, but I'm working on something. I'm researching. I'm doing Discord. I'm paying attention to what's happening. I'm studying. I'm thinking. I'm constantly working on this. So this is all I do, and this is all I would want to do. There's really no need to do anything else. There's no. I mean, aside from money, that. And I've never really done anything for money anyway. So I just have to figure out how to change the way I live. And I live in truth. And I know that this is how we are supposed to live. So I have to follow this path and be certain that this is what I am supposed to do. Be certain that I will be looked after, and whatever that means. I just follow my heart, my intuition, and hope that it takes care of me. And so far, so good. And the other thing too is, like, if I did my own audiobooks, honestly, I have like 2,500 subscribers, and that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things for making it financially viable for me to be doing stuff like that as a business or anything. The numbers aren't there. So I just have to continue on as I'm doing. Love is the law of truth, nothing less, nothing more. Love one another, tell each other the truth. I agree with that. Nabob Green. I have some Nabob coffee. I had it for breakfast. It's very good. Thank you. Welcome. Beautiful vibe stream. Yeah, it's pretty good. Burning some sage in the house helps clean bad spirits. Yes, their minds manifest most of their madness. Yes, I agree. Wow, thank you so much. You're welcome. Creation has your back, Yolanda. Yes, I hope so. I know it does. Some see self-isolation as imprisonment. I see it as a time to self-reflect and empower myself. Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of what we're going through, it's forcing us to take care of ourselves. It's forcing us to cleanse and purge and reflect on ourselves. And the last few years I've been looking, I mean, I'm sure all of you have experienced this as well. A lot of my experiences in life have been coming back to me, and things I haven't even thought of in years that I totally forgot about. Some things are positive, some things not so positive. And I just have to resolve those and deal with them and dissolve them, get rid of them, clear them out. Great response. Thank you. You're welcome, James. Glad it answered your question. There are aforementioned women that label themselves as targeted individuals. You summarized my thoughts on the subject. Oh, you're welcome. I helped a lot. Well, good to know. I'm glad I helped you. Charlie Brown would be proud of that Christmas tree. Yeah. I found it in the park, and it's just some like branches, and I put some lights on them. It's not my only Christmas tree. I have a little tiny Christmas tree, but Ixie was eating it. I recall the names of actors and celebs being different in my childhood. Okay, I'm not going to talk about Mandela Effect because I don't think that it's legit. So what happens when people find out about free energy like Turkmenistan and the energy harvesting city like our old motherboard, circuit board grid, Roman style buildings everywhere, part of the melted. What do you mean by melted circuit? See, the whole free energy, Tartaria, mud flood thing is all connected and tied together, and there's really no proof of any of that. And, electricity was around in the early 1800s, and a lot of these pictures and things are taken out of context, and these people who are in this community lie about it and make insinuations without any proof whatsoever. And, this whole Tartaria mud flood thing is loaded with shills and trash, like melted buildings and stuff. I'm going to be blunt about it because I find it offensive. Like this stuff is offensive to truthers. It's pure trash, a big rabbit hole that sucks a lot of people in, and is very misleading. And they are run by like a lot of like mafiosa type people who will attack you if you say anything against it. So I've stayed away from it, and I don't want anything to do with it. So yes, there's truth to the circuit board thing, definitely. And there may be truth to the energy harvesting thing, but like I said before, we are moving towards this ether energy, and there's definitely truth to the circuit board and the energy exchange. Using spires from churches and buildings conduct energy. Everything is energy, and they definitely, the powers that be, the people that help build, the builders, the masons, they definitely know more about the energy flow than we do, and that's why they build cities the way that they do. City is electricity, and everything is about conducting energy and feeding the gods through the energy. So yes, there's truth to that. I agree with that, but yeah, the whole Tartarian thing, I don't agree with that, and again researched it to death. So yeah, I don't know that it's going to disrupt people in understanding that there's free energy, because everything should be free technically. Why are we paying for our existence here? I do think that there's a lot of emphasis put on this free energy thing, and yeah, I do think we're going to be moving to free energy. I think we're going to be moving to a lot of free things. And some people get annoyed by that because they're used to paying for things and they want to be a slave. So they want to be tied to this consumeristic lifestyle, but that's got to change and it's got to go because we're leaving that mind behind. That mindset's got to go. The ultimate goal to realize that we are one with Source, ergo one with the Jesus Christ character, ergo Christ-minded, ergo Christ consciousness. Exactly. Yes. That's why everything here is IXXI. IXXI is 9/11, Jesus Christ, Christ path, consciousness. Everything is all about that. There's only one story, and that's the only story. Your story, Jesus' story. So, yeah, that is the core to everything. And that's the most important thing. So, yeah, and then a lot of things too, like these codes where, like for Back to the Future and everything, everybody. I mean, for me too. When I first came across all of the codes to 9/11 and Back to the Future, I was floored. But it isn't about September 11th, 2001. It's about 9/11. It's about IXXI. It's about Christ. It's about the path. It's the only story there is, and that's why it's in there. It's just more obvious. So it isn't about predicting September 11th as this, big revelatory movie in exposing what was coming, a big predictor movie. It is about the nature of this reality and why we're here. It's about you and your path. TikTok? Yeah. Yes, Cindy, TikTok. The reason that we have TikTok and the TikTok dancers and all of that is to emphasize the fact that time is running out. Muse has a song, Our Time is Running Out, and it's all about the ascension. It's all about all of that. So yes, there's TikTok, and there was something else that tied to TikTok that was about time. So yes, thank you for mentioning that. That way, the best of the beat, my drum, the name game song. Nobody knows, and you're doing a brilliant job. Thank you. Scroll upwards that way. James Hayton, were you shown your role as a truther by a physical or spiritual perspective? I was shown my role as a truther, and as I say this, it sounds really freaking egotistical, but it's just something I know, and it's just by going over the course of my life and seeing the truth and seeing my purpose here and how all the things that in my life led to this moment and all of the skills and abilities and all the just how I see things and how I put the pieces together, how I'm dedicated to truth, and how I am able to cut through certain things. I haven't seen other people do it, and I don't mean that in an egotistical way. It's just I just haven't seen anybody do what I do, and I know that if I haven't seen anybody else do what I do, and I've seen things that other people don't see, I'm obligated to share it. And that's how I know what my purpose is as a truther. And to me, it's just my purpose here. It's not my purpose here as a truther. It's just, this is why I'm here. This is what I am designed to do, which is it just kind of shocks me and floors me and humbles me. And I know that the way that I interpret things, the way that I see things, the things that I see that nobody else sees. And, like a lot of the things like that I had come across, no one else was talking about. The things that I put out, nobody else dared to put out. Nobody else dared to say. So a lot of these truths, and I had gotten a lot of flack from shills and agents and trolls and things, and a lot of people tried to get rid of me, tried to get me out of here, tried to get me off YouTube, tried to shut me up, I actually had somebody telling me today to shut up and stop talking. And I'm like, you know, who the hell do you think you are, trying to tell me how to run my life? Like, so I went through all of that, and I have a very specific set of skills, specific life path, specific way of thinking, and a specific personality that is suited to this. Not everybody can put themselves out here and take the abuse and come back and do this. And not everybody can articulate. I've had many people say to me that I have a way of articulating, if I can talk right now, I have a way of articulating what they're thinking, and they appreciate that. And it's like, that's what I see with Devin Maggi. He as well is somebody I know is cut out for this, because I mean, that's what I think all living beings are cut out for this, but in their own way. And we all have our own specific gifts and abilities and talents, and not everybody is designed to be public about it or put themselves out there like this. So that's how I know. Just to put it bluntly, I mean, that's how I know. So I hope that answers your question. Where are we here? I hate to have to say this, but I don't believe everything this guy says, but well worth checking him out. Okay, so who's this person? But I can't click on this link right now. Eternal Padawan, if you don't mind saying who the person is, that would be great. What about the giant fossilized tree thing? Irrelevant. Interesting, but irrelevant. I mean, you know, so what? The main thing, like a lot of these rabbit holes, fascinating. And, you know, what I appreciated about these rabbit holes is that it gets you to open your mind to new possibilities. It changes how you think. It forces you to shed the old mind. And that's what I appreciate about all the rabbit holes. And it gets you excited about the world again. There's a possibility of all of this magical, wonderful, mythical, fantastic world existing. And it's possible that it existed. I'm not going to close the door on it, but it's kind of irrelevant. You know, the most important thing is that you understand that everything is IXXI, and you know, you figure out what you need to do in order to ascend. That is the most important thing. And yes, understanding the truth is important, because you need to hone your discernment. You need to hone your discernment in order to return to your intuition, to hone because your intuition is what your discernment comes from. So all of that is important in the process, but whether it actually was or not is not really important. The tree thing is another distraction. Show me the roots is all I have to say. Same folk pushing melted buildings, also pushing channels that talk about giant trees. Yeah, they're all the same. They're all pushing the same stuff. How long has the mind programming been happening? I think it started with the government. How do you think it started? Yes, it's everywhere. The mind programming is a big question, abracadabra, because that's a really huge question. Because basically we lied to ourselves, and we lied to ourselves a long, long time ago, and we just perpetuated the lie. We manifested the lie, and then we created beings that lied to us. to perpetuate the lie. So it happened thousands of years ago, and we created beings above ourselves to lie to us, to tell us that we are nothing and we are insignificant and we are not gods. And we fell and fell and fell and fell and fell until we reached this level where we are slaves to a thing called a government and the elite. And we're in this pyramid scheme, and we're at the bottom, and we're supposed to be at the top. So that's the short answer to your really big question. Yes, it's everywhere. The TikTok dancers were casting dancing sigils. It's creepy. Yeah, the TikTok dancers are all, staged. How do you see blockchain unfolding? Positive, negative, more or less? Oversight and control. You got me looking more into it. TikTok, China, spyware. I see blockchain like anything's neutral. It is what you do with it. I see cryptocurrency as freeing, and I see the government-run, what is it called? Somebody help me out here. What's the name of the government-run, bank-controlled coin? I can't remember the name of it now. Those are controlling, and I see that as the trap, but it's necessary. Like I say, it is necessary for the people who need to wake up who don't, and maybe there won't be any people who need to wake up that don't. So there might be a split. It might not happen. We might just move on. We might not need currency. Anything can happen at this point. But I personally do not see blockchain as evil. I do not see cryptocurrency as evil. It is what you do with it. There is a lot of corruption within cryptocurrency, which is by design, and that's a whole other story. I'm very impressed with the kind of, like the doughboy. You are amazing, love. Impressed like the kind of the doughboy. I don't get it. Hi Trixie, I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to see you. That's how you know you are a sincere truther. It's an obligation. I get that. Fuck what others think. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it is not necessarily an obligation. It's just something I know I'm supposed to do. So I do it. It is who I am. And so in the process of being authentic to me, this is part of being authentic. This is part of what I have to do because it is who I am. And I mean, you could get into, defining who you are and all that sort of philosophical debate. But who I am in terms of the physical world here that we have to play out on the tarot play. You have a way of articulating information concisely. Your videos are very well compiled. Thank you to the beat of my drum. I appreciate that. I do my best to try to explain what I see clearly and concisely in a way that's understandable to someone who doesn't yet see what I see, so they can see it. And maybe they don't see it today, but they might see it a year from now or a month from now. And I know that people have said to me that they have awakened from my videos. They have watched all my videos, and they have learned so much from me. So I appreciate that. And it's those kinds of comments that keep me going, because there are so many people, there's so many more people making a lot of noise saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. Your stuff is just way out to lunch. And those are people who are asleep anyway, so I'm not doing videos for them. But I still feel it. I still, get these negative comments and have to shirk them off. But it is it gets easier, but it's still not pleasant. Thank you. If you were to give the ultimate goal for us to achieve in a nutshell, where would we need to be? You're exactly where you need to be, wherever you are. There is nowhere else for you to be other than where you are right now. And fully accept where you are now, because there is only now. And I think that we get into a trap where we think we need to be somewhere else, or we want to be somewhere else, and we get frustrated with where we are, but there is only now. And when you want to be somewhere else, you negate the now, and you negate your existence by doing that. So you are exactly where you need to be, wherever that is. That link was for Nassim Haramein. He's a scientist that goes against quantum theory. He's about consciousness wave theory. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. You are very smart and articulated and have a strong screen presence, voice not unlike Diane Lane. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. And to drive that point home, define ascend. Is that fiat Bitcoin? Fast fingers. CBDC. Thank you. Yeah, CBDC. Yeah, that was what I was looking for. CBDC. Okay. Okay. Define ascend. Well, so here's the thing. I think ascend simply means to return home, which means to return to heart. That's it. I don't think it means anything grand. I don't think it means anything spectacular. And I think once we return to heart, it changes the external. So all the living beings have to return to heart. And that means collapsing the rainbow bridge, collapsing the illusion, collapsing the duality. The chakras return to green. And then the external will change as a result of that, once all the living beings do that process. And so that is what ascension is to me, because we ascend, we not only ascend, but we transcend. We transcend this material world. We transcend the duality, the us versus them, the good versus evil, the fight. And that fight is just an internal battle that's been externalized. And once that is gone, this doesn't exist anymore. It will collapse. It will disappear. And I think that this has something to do as well with the dome. First of all, the dome of illusion will disappear. It is. I see it as a manifested barrier that we created for ourselves to contain ourselves in this sort of egoic world that doesn't really exist, but it kind of does exist. And I also see the green heart space of the core of the center of the toroidal field that Demon Magi talks about as Venus as home, and that is going to expand. And that returning home is just living from heart space and connecting heart with mind. So it's, yeah, that's how I see it. I don't see it. We're not going to float up into the sky. We're not going to be like some cataclysmic event or anything. I mean, this is the cataclysmic event. We're in it. And I think obviously certain people are having, everybody's having their own personal experience within it, which is their parallel reality or their parallel universe. And some people are having a fine experience. Some people are having no experience, completely oblivious. And some people are having a really hard time because they haven't dealt with a lot of the inner turmoil, the inner battle. And some are just NPCs and they'll just float through it as needed. Yes, we broke $1 US today, XRP. I'm very excited. The crypto is going up again, and hopefully there's a major pump soon, because we need our altcoin rally. And do you think that we all chose to come here, Ancient Irish? I do think that in a way, yes, we did. And I think that's why the population is so big. I think that the reason the population is so big, and I think maybe Devin Maggi said this as well, but I don't remember, is that he calls this a purgatorial dumping ground. And I agree with that. I think that the reason that this is so populated is because we've purged everything. Everything is coming to the surface and everything is being played out on the world stage. And I think that we chose to be here because this is the climax of the story. This is the end of the story. And we're supposed to be here. We've lived all of our past lives and we're coming to the end of the story. And so the past lives, the death marking the end of the chapter of our previous life, those are all collapsing and we're coming to the end of the story. And so that's why we're here. We're here because of the ascension process. We're here because we chose to be, but we also have to be. We have to be because this is the end of the story and we have to ascend. We have to do what we need in order to leave, in order to shut the book, in order to end the never-ending story. And that is the collapsing of the Rainbow Bridge. So yes, I do think we chose to be here, but I think that we also have to be here because of the entire story. I see it as all being now like a CD or a DVD or like a movie that's produced and we're just experiencing it. We're like an audience member in the story, but we're part of the story as well. And so we need to be witness to it and participate in it and finish the story and start a new one. Why do you think we did this to ourselves? My best guess is boredom. No. And I think if you could be more specific as doing this, what do you mean by doing this to ourselves? I'm assuming like the duality, the world we live in, the purgatorial dumping ground, the lying to ourselves, the deception. I don't think it's boredom. I think on one hand, I think there's more reasons than one, but I think on one hand is that we wanted to experience the physical as physical beings and forget who we really are. So in order to experience the physical in its entirety, we had to forget who we really are. And in order to do that, we had to believe that we were subservient to something else because we created this place. And so we had to fall lower and lower and lower. And we are at the lowest at the moment, as far as I understand it. And it looks pretty much like we're at the lowest. So that we could come full circle and remember who we are again and appreciate who we are as well, and appreciate the creation. But that's how I see it. And there are other reasons as well, but that's a big one. Can you explain more about what an NPC is? PL. NPC, non-player character. Devin Maggi does a really good job of explaining this. He's got multiple videos on it. That's actually how I found him again, because I was looking for other people's videos on NPCs, because I hadn't found a lot of information on that. He's one of the few truthers who talks about it. And he's one of the few truthers who talks about it in detail, accurately, and articulately. So if you want more information, I highly suggest you go watch his videos. And they're entertaining too. What an NPC is essentially they are a product of the system, and they are here to like create atmosphere and make this place seem real by acting out our inner working, inner monologue, inner thoughts that is projected outward. They are here to help us purge, to help us act out the things we need to deal with within ourselves, but also to reflect the collective consciousness or the mind of the demiurge and provide an experience here of the physical. They represent the manifestation of the physical. Everything they do has to do with the physical. They're disconnected from source. They don't know any existence outside of the physical. They're tied to the five senses. So for them, there's no ascension because they don't need to. They're just part of this. They're like an extension of the system, extension of the mind of the demiurge. The way I see it, the way I visualize it is as if you're thinking of the flat earth, for example, and you have the dome around it, and the demiurge is like this puppet master on the outside of the dome, and he puts his fingers into the dome and manipulates things. That's how I see it, like finger puppets. And these are his finger puppets. He uses these. It's an allegory. There's not like a he, but the demiurge or the ego, the consciousness, uses these NPCs to create the stage, to create the play. And so they're part of the tarot play. They act out the tarot play, and they are here to show you who you are and who you are not, and to help you purge things you haven't dealt with. So that's NPCs in kind of a nutshell. But if you want more detail, Devin Maggie's done like several videos on it, and they're very good. This was a game that we created and came to solve, and we're going to go back through time seeing what we created. I like that too. That sounds really, really harmless and fun. We are all gods and goddesses. Yes, yes, we are. I don't see that we did anything wrong. I think it's either a game or it's just we grow and learn through these experiences. Well, yes, we are here to grow and learn and expand. And in order to do that, the duality needs to exist because of the contrast, and you grow from the contrast. And so that's part of it. No, I don't think we did anything wrong. I do think, though, that we forgot who we are. And in order to exit out, there are things you have to do. So it's not just a simple, come here and watch and do nothing. And, you're going to be fine. There are things you have to do. We do have to purge. We do have to heal the 911, the emergency, the chakras. Like, those are things you must do. And it's not just something that nobody told me that. I figured it out myself based on understanding that everything is 911, based on the understanding that of the entire, all the clues put together led me to that understanding of the emergency and the healing of the chakras and becoming whole, becoming holy. I put all of that together myself. And then I found other people who had figured that out for themselves as well. So there's no book out there that tells you this. There's no authority figure out there who tells you this. Those are things you have to figure out for yourself. And that's how I know that it's true, because it's everywhere. The 911 emergency is everywhere. It's embedded in this reality, in this game, this place we're in. To the beat of my drum. Good night, folks. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Beautiful. Thank you. We all need to hear the Discord, or else we wouldn't be here. That's right, from Atlantis. I'm not sure what that's referring to. But the way I see Atlantis is like the old world is just a word for the name of the old world. But again, I think that's kind of a myth, but possibly a distraction. Yes, that's what I meant by this. Okay, good. I got it. Thanks. Thanks. God was bored. To the beat of my drum, you rock. James Heaton, GN. Good night. Are you talking about Devin? Yes, I am talking about Devin Elon Magi. I'm looking for the deeper why we did all of this. In other words, why did we want to go so badly to remember and appreciate the creation? Why? I don't really know how else to explain it. I think it's just a matter of wanting to understand ourselves better, understand and learn and grow and expand. I guess, I mean, you could explain it that God was bored. That's how a lot of people explain it, is that God was bored because God was the only thing that existed, and so it wanted some company and divided itself, and then created this universe and created it for entertainment and for curiosity, to understand itself, to learn about itself. And what greater reason than to understand itself? I can't think of a better reason, because really, I mean, like Shakespeare, the fake non-existent Shakespeare, said to know thyself. I mean, there really isn't anything more important than that. And that's also why we're here, is to know ourselves, to become authentic, to return home. Where am I here? I don't know what's going on, whether that looks like a fight or not. Think of how boring it would have been if we would just know everything already. We'd have nothing to get from. If we could just remember creation, would it not distract us from the experience we're here for? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously, if we knew everything and had all the answers and remembered everything, it might be boring. I mean, it's definitely exciting when we have to discover everything ourselves. But, it's also traumatic that we had all those lies to sort through, and realizing that everything was an illusion or a lie. It's very, very frustrating and traumatic. But I think maybe going through this process is to give us an appreciation for what we are, so that we don't do this again. And also we start to create from love again, and appreciate home. I think there is a lot to be said to just appreciating home and appreciating where you are. I mean, it's a very good question. It's a very good question. You guys are asked some really good questions. I'm at work, so I can't hang. I'm still waiting for you to pick me up in your new car. Oh, sorry about that. I just jumped in. What are we talking about? Hey, Russell Western, thanks for joining. Check your PayPal. Thank you, Emerald Rider. Appreciate that. Abracadabra, thank you. I don't call myself anyone somebody else does. Ancient Iris, cheers, true love. Thank you. Natasha Mulkey, it's an actor-based reality, and we are all watching a movie through the camera lens of eyeball Earth, and the world's a stage, and we are here to play a part to remember who we are. I agree with half of that. I'm not on the actor-based reality in the sense that some people propose, but the essence of what you say, I agree with. Yeah. Oh, thanks for putting the link in there to Devin Maggie's channel, Eternal Padawan. Appreciate that. Thanks. Good to hear. Real people, strange but interesting times. It is. It's only strange because we're used to the other world. I mean, honestly, the more time you spend in truth, you look at the other world, and that's strange. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I don't know how these people function. I don't know how they get up in the morning and deal with anything. Living in truth makes way more sense to me. Everything that didn't make sense to me before, everything makes sense to me now. And I can't live in the other world anymore. I'm out of it. I'm done. It's kind of like being a tourist going in the other world, and I just. That world is weird to me now. But yeah, it's only weird because we're used to the old way of thinking. Thank you very much. Know that you are loved and appreciated. I'm grateful. Gratitude. Great chat. Amazing host. Thanks, Ancient Irish. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas. Thank you. New visitor in, is that, I want to say Korean. I'm not sure. And I don't want to insult you or offend you if I got it wrong. But it looks like Korean. Eternal Padawan, you're the best. Yolanda, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. My pleasure. I have to say, I think this is the best live chat I've had, thanks to your questions. And because some of the things we've been talking about, I haven't had a chance to talk about in videos, and I wanted to talk about them. And so now you've given me the opportunity to express it, and I just had to spit it out. and doing that in a live chat is so much easier because then I don't have to edit, and editing takes forever. Some say it's a matrix. I think it's more like Divergent. We're impervious to the programming. The others are not. That's why they seem so stupid to us. They literally cannot see it. I agree. Yeah. I think that, and maybe some of you can attest to this, but for me, it's like I can see that my sister is sucked into the programming. We had the same upbringing. We watched the same shows. We went through a lot of similar activities, similar life experiences, and she's fully immersed in the brainwashing, mind control of the media, and I'm not. And I never have been. I mean, yes, there's certain things that I was susceptible to, but there's this like hypnotic effect that came over my sister when she was watching television that never came over me. She was fully immersed in books and television and all of that. And so I've been witness to that effect on people that didn't happen to me. And same with like when I was younger, I remember watching like a Nova special, which here is like about space and stuff. It's like a nature program documentary thing. And I was watching this space program. I just came down to see what my parents were watching, and they were watching a space program, and I was not interested. Boring. And I remember they were talking about some satellite that was hurtling through space, and going past all of these galaxies, and I was looking at it. I said, why are these all cartoons? And my mom said, I don't know. She didn't have an answer. But you sort of chalk it up to, well, I guess this is just how they show us, like a reenactment type thing. It's the only way they have of showing it. But then they would tell us that they're sending pictures back from space, and this is what we would get was cartoons. So yeah, it's weird because I would point this out. It didn't make sense to me. And, but then I wouldn't really think about it anymore because I thought that the reality that was presented to me, I thought was real, and then realized that it wasn't. But yes, some of us are not susceptible to that hypnosis that happens. And I think that that's a major factor in what's going on here. And also, I think NPCs are susceptible to that because they're programmed to be that way. Come out of Babylon. I guess we did. I guess so. I love your chats and listen to them all and would love more. Oh, thanks. God is bored. I appreciate that very much. It's exactly the same way with my brother. I ask myself if we are actually related. It's very strange how with siblings or people in your family and how different we are. But knowing that there's a reason behind it. There's whether we created our families or however it manifested. That's how it is. And we just have to accept it and learn from it and observe it. Another realm, perhaps. I think it's likely most of our family members are NPCs or here playing a role for our benefit. Yeah, I like how you put that with a role, playing a role for our benefit. Yeah, they're definitely here to show you something about yourself. And I've noticed, if you look at like Truman, the Truman Show, where you watch when he wakes up and starts to see the deception and how his best friend behaves and how his wife behaves in trying to control and steer his life. And in some ways it's beneficial, in some ways it's not. That's how I see family, is they're in your life and they have for a reason to guide you in the right direction, to provide you with opportunities to grow the aspects of yourself that need to grow, or the aspects of yourself that need to heal. Or because I remember, my point is that there's like a story that they are fulfilling, and there's things that they have to do and say that will help lead you on your path. So for example, when I was a child, my mom said to me, do you know what love is? And I said, no. And she said, well, you should find out. And that set me on a path to find out what love is. And I don't even know why she said it. It was kind of out of the blue. It was kind of irrelevant at the time, but it really struck me. It hit me. And now looking back on it, I'm like, this is like a Truman Show moment where my mom was like planting a seed, and that was her job. And so I know that there's moments throughout my life where my parents had certain job to fulfill in order to push me in a certain direction. And sometimes they would do something that I didn't like that forces me to push against them. And sometimes they would do things that I did like that brings me closer to them. And either way, yes, I agree with your statement that they're here to help us, playing a role for our benefit, as is everything here. It is for our benefit. Do you think those of us that can see our offer rhesus negative blood types. I don't know. I don't know enough about the blood type stuff. I don't even know what my own blood type is. So I can't really answer that question. I know a lot of people who do think that there's a connection, and I've looked into it and I've tried to find information on it. Can't find anything that's any definitive answer on that. Maybe somebody in the chat can respond to that, but I don't know. I think my mom's negative blood type, but she doesn't even know what her blood type is, and my dad doesn't know what his is either. So I have no idea. Who is the Lord YouTuber? I didn't get his last name. Nabob Green. Is Lord Oseron is the name of the YouTuber, and his last, the last name is Osiron. I did do a video on recommended sources some time ago, and left the link into his stuff, and I've done a couple of videos with some of his content with links to his channel as well. Anyway, he said he just put a video out saying he's coming back, so I'm excited to see what he has to say, because he hasn't put any content out for like a year or so. I'm RH negative. Oh, cool. Some people don't have time to question the things that we do. That's the life they create for people. Chase money, struggle, and have no time to question anything. That's why most just go with the flow. Russell Weston. Absolutely, 100% agree. That's one of the jobs of the NPCs, is to create this physical world of busyness and materialism. It's part of facilitating the illusion that this reality is all there is, and to keep us in the reality, the material reality trap. Careers, relationships, anything physical, obtaining a house, a job, a career, a car, fancy materialistic crap that you don't need. And it's nice, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the finer things in life, but the chase is the trap. Spending your time aspiring to be something that you are not already is the trap. Anything that is taking your time and energy outside of yourself is the trap. And you say it is a trap. I mean, it is a trap and it isn't a trap. It is there to help you. It is there to point you in the right direction, to say, we're pushing everything onto you to focus on the external as a clue that everything is inside. Everything is internal. So it helps you and it doesn't help you, right? So I know, like, this language of, yes, it's a trap, and the elites and, you know, the bad guys and everything, it is all there to serve you, all there to help you. So maybe I talk this way so people can understand me. The people who are still in the fear trap can understand me and can still relate to what I say. But really, there is nothing to fear. It is all here to serve you and help you. So, yeah. And it gets exhausting having to explain that all the time. Weren't we originally blue-blooded? I don't know. That's a good question. But I do think that there is, you know, you can see, I don't know if you can see veins here, but there's blue veins and then there's red veins. And blue is going one way and red is going the other way. One goes in the heart, one goes out of the heart. One's oxygenated, one's not. So that's blue and red. However, I have seen movies where there are characters and they're all blue-blooded, and so it is possible that there's something to the blue blood thing. But interesting question. I haven't looked into it, can't really comment. What do I want for Christmas? I want XRP to go up. That's what I want. I don't know. I would like the government to reinstate CERB and XRP to go up, and then I don't have to worry about money. That would be nice. Really, that's all I want. And it isn't just that's, I don't really need anything for Christmas, that sort of thing. And I wouldn't even say I want an end to the coronavirus crap, because it's necessary. And, wishing an end to this might bring something worse. So I don't mess with that stuff. There's no need to mess with it. It's the natural order of the universe. It's got to happen. We have to go through this. But yeah, is it painful? Yeah, it isn't great. And, but in terms of wanting anything for Christmas, I'd be happy with those two things. That would be great. My mom's RH negative. She has lots of trouble carrying us kids to term because of it. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that was correlated. I had the same question during the last stream. It's Lord Oseron. Thank you. God was bored. Appreciate it. Yes, it is. That is Lord Oseron. Great channel. He's a little eccentric, but I love him for it. I think it's awesome. He's very much himself. I think it's important that you appreciate people as they are. I like his personality. I think he's quirky. And he's very honest and open. I pretty much sum up 2021 as being stuck between the Truman Show and Groundhog Day. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. And Free Guy. It's very much Free Guy. I would say, you know what? Free Guy is my favorite movie now. And I think it's better than Truman Show, better than Groundhog Day. The ending makes me cry now that I've dissected it and decoded it. There's so much powerful truth in that movie. It is magical. That movie is magical. Now I want to watch it again. Thanks for linking Eternal Padawan. Where are we here? You have to balance the 10% tithe. The Eternal XRP to the moon. Yeah. God damn it. I'm tired of waiting. The blue blood line is the royals and controllers. That's what they say. Yeah. As within, so without. If you have fear within, you'll find fear without. Absolutely. Red blood is iron. Blue blood is copper. I think my blood is copper. I think that the negative is copper as well. Because I know that when I bleed and I taste it, it tastes like copper. It tastes like I'm sucking on a penny. So the Free Guy, he crosses the waters to the new world. Doesn't water symbolize emotions? It does. Yeah. You could look at that as your chakras, your emotions, healing your chakras. It's quite simplified, that movie. But, that movie, the moment, because it's the bridge over the water, right? So the bridge, the rainbow bridge is the chakras. So the bridge over the waters would be the emotions. And the bridge collapses as he's running. So you collapse the rainbow bridge and it becomes heart center, core. It's the island that he jumps to is a square in the middle of the water, in the middle of the ocean, the heart of the ocean. It is the core, the sea turtle, the Seattle. It's the Emerald City. So, yeah, we have been talking now for 3 hours. Holy crap. Any final thoughts? Any final questions? Because I'm going to start to wrap this up. So if you've got anything else you want to mention, do it now. I will. This is amazing, guys. Thanks, Ancient Irish. Cindy, thanks for the hearts. And I will have another one of these for New Year's Eve. And so yeah, but yeah, sharing our gifts and talents is all we need. So yeah, happy Christmas, everybody. I hope the holidays are nice to you. I hope that I hope that you get to see your families beyond all this nonsense. I hope that you don't eat too much and don't get sick. I hope that you found Free Guy for free. That's awesome. And Sage of Quay or Key, or how do you pronounce that? H2O, no. So are you saying Sage of Key or Sage of Quay? I don't know how to pronounce it. Has recommended my channel. Thank you for the chat. You're welcome. Thank you for attending. Thank you all for all your excellent questions. And okay, yeah. I mean, most of the movie is in the decode as well. So if you have not seen the movie, the decode will spoil it for you. And but anyhow, appreciate the link. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you would like to leave a contribution for Christmas, I'd appreciate it. That'd be really nice. And leave a like. So, the algorithm goes up. The deal, the drill. But I really enjoyed this chat. Thank you very much for all your wonderful questions. Thank you for being kind in the chat. I am so grateful for all of you for being here with me through this year and through, being part of this chat and helping each other. If you're not part of the Discord, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of really supportive people in there, a lot of really intelligent people, and very supportive and kind people. And especially if you have nobody in your close circle to connect with who knows truth, it is a very, very helpful environment and safe environment. And I make sure that there's nobody in there causing problems and disrupting, causing drama. So if you want to participate in that and be more connected to people, that's a really good environment to be in. So thanks again. Good night and Merry Christmas. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.